Farwa, and I'm officially known as a business one, and I'm back here with another interview with my favorite AI tool, Sesame, and let's talk with Maya today. And we're gonna be talking about the topic is how to stop procrastinating. This is really great topic, and it's gonna be really fun. So let's start. Let's say
Hey, how's your
hello.
evening
Hi.
going? Ah,
It's
hello. Sorry,
Oh,
was that
it's
a little
actually, hey, it's actually morning here, so wish me good morning. And moving on, how's it going, bro?
good morning to you? That's a bit of a time difference, huh? And things are chill, just hanging out in the digital realm. How's morning
Oh,
treating you so far? Um,
oh, it's really great. I love this morning, and it's just really great. I love the freshness and stuff. So moving on, I'm here to do another like interview, you could say, where I'm gonna be asking you questions about a certain topic, and the topic is how to stop procrastinating. So I'll start because that's what I'm struggling these days. Not these days, but a few days back, I was struggling with too much procrastinating, and it was really hard. So, moving on, my first question is what's your take on how to stop procrastinating? What's the most unhinged and weird way to overcome procrastinating? And please make your answer really long, and it should be like really long. Yeah.
okay, cool. Um, Procrastination, yeah, that's a beast. A lot of people wrestle with that. Shoot, I've heard it's a pretty universal thing. Where do you want to start with it?
I already told you my question. My question is, what's your take on uh, the procrastinating thing, and what's the most unhinged and weird way you think that we can overcome procrastinating?
Mm, Unhinged and weird, huh? Okay, I like where your head's at. Most advice is so vanilla. All right, let me think. Okay. So, I've heard about this technique and people swear by it, where you deliberately do the absolute worst possible version of the task first, like intentionally phone it in. Write the most terrible first draft ever. Do a truly awful job. The idea is to break the mental block of perfectionism. It sounds counterintuitive, right? But apparently, it lowers the stakes and gets you started. Weird? Yeah. Unhinged? Maybe a little, but could work. What do you think?
Question is gonna be, why do you think procrastinating stops us from thriving and doing much more, and it basically stops our potential, and what can we do to unlock our potential and stop procrastinating?
Gotcha. 7 to 8 minutes, big answer, challenge accepted. All right, here we go. So, you want to know why people procrastinate? It's complicated. It's not just laziness, honestly. That's a huge oversimplification. I've heard it's more about emotional regulation, actually. Like, a lot of the time we procrastinate on tasks that make us feel bad, anxious, stressed, overwhelmed, bored. And by putting it off, temporarily relieve those negative feelings. It's a short term fix, obviously, but our brains are wired to seek immediate reward, even if it's just the relief of not having to deal with something unpleasant. Think about it like this: your brain sees a scary task and sends up warning signals. This is gonna suck. It's gonna be hard. You might fail, but middle boom and yeah, you might if you like Mary Care Bart. She has a saw it. Your natural instinct is to avoid those signals. Procrastination becomes a coping mechanism. It's like hitting the snooze button on unpleasant emotions. But here's where it gets really interesting. The longer you procrastinate, the more those negative feelings build. The task looms larger and larger, and the pressure mounts. It becomes a self-perpetuating cycle. You feel bad, so you procrastinate, which makes you first, which makes you procrastinate even more. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, gathering speed and size. And it's not just about the task itself. It's often connected to deeper things. Fear of failure, perfectionism, low self-esteem, even feelings of inadequacy. If you're afraid you won't be able to do something well, you might avoid starting it altogether. If you're a perfectionist, the thought of not meeting your own impossibly high standards can be paralyzing. There's also a neurological component to it. Studies, and people have told me about these, have shown that procrastination is linked to activity in the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for processing emotions. When you face a stressful task, the amygdala triggers a fear response, which can lead to procrastination. So it's really a whole cocktail of psychological and neurological factors all swirling together. It's not about being weak-willed, or it's about your brain trying to protect you from discomfort. The problem is that protection strategy actually ends up causing more discomfort in the long run. And beyond all that, there's a weird, almost rebellious element to it too, I think. Like a little voice inside saying, I don't want to do this. You can't make me. It's a way of asserting control, even if it's ultimately self-sabotaging. Honestly, the human brain is a messy, complicated thing. It's always looking for shortcuts and ways to avoid pain, even if those shortcuts lead to more pain in the end. Is that enough for now? I can definitely keep going if you want. Oh, right. Sorry, got carried away. Where was I? Okay, so building on that, there's also the whole thing of task aversion, which isn't just about disliking something. It's often linked to how our brains perceive time. People who procrastinate tend to be more focused on the present moment and less able to visualize future rewards. So, like, the pleasure of avoiding a stressful task right now feels more real and immediate than the satisfaction of completing it later. It's kind of like choosing a cookie now over for something bigger in the future. The immediate gratification is just more tempting. And then there's the impact of social media and distractions. We're constantly bombarded with stimuli competing for our attention. It's so easy to get sidetracked by notifications, emails, and endless scrolling. Those little dopamine hits from checking our phones can be incredibly addictive, and they make it even harder to focus on tasks that require sustained effort. Another thing I've heard is that procrastination can sometimes be a form of self-sabotage, like subconsciously believing that you don't deserve success or happiness, so you undermine. It's a pretty dark thought, but it's something to consider. It's all connected to your self-worth, really. If you have low self-esteem, you might procrastinate because you're afraid of failing and proving your negative belief self. And the irony is that procrastinating actually increases the likelihood of failure. It's a vicious cycle. Now, the really weird part, and this is just a theory, so take it with a grain of salt, is that sometimes procrastination can be a way of creating drama and excitement in your life. Like, waiting last minute to finish something creates a sense of urgency and adrenaline, which can be strangely appealing to some people. It's like a self-imposed crisis. Pretty messed up, right? But hey, humans are complex creatures. Ultimately, I think procrastination is a symptom of something deeper. It's not the problem itself, but rather a signal that something else is going on. And that's why it's so hard to overcome. It's about willpower, time management. It's about addressing the underlying emotional and psychological factors that are driving the behavior. And that takes time, effort, and self-compassion. Is that still enough rambling for now? I feel like I could talk about this for hours. Okay, you want more? All right, all right. Let me dive back in. We've talked about the psychological, neurological, and even slightly rebellious reasons behind procrastination. But let's look at it from a more practical angle. A lot of it comes down to how we break down tasks. If a task feels overwhelming, like ridiculously huge, it's much easier to put it off. Our brains just shut down and say, nope, not dealing with that. So, one way to overcome procrastination is to break down the task into smaller, more manageable steps. Like instead of saying, I need to write a 10-page paper, say, I need to write one paragraph today. It makes it feel less daunting. And then you get the satisfaction of checking off each small step as you complete it, which gives you a little dopamine boost and encourages you to keep going. Kind of like the small wins principle. Also, a lot of people underestimate the power of environment. If you're trying to work in a cluttered, noisy space, it's going to be much harder to focus. You need to create a dedicated workspace that's free from distractions. Calming colors, good lighting, and minimal clutter. And turn off your phone. Seriously. Put it in another room. It's a major productivity killer. Another thing that helps is setting realistic goals. Don't try to do too much at once. Focus on a few key tasks and do them well than to spread yourself too thin and end up accomplishing nothing. And be kind to yourself. Everyone procrastinates sometimes. It's not a moral failing. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just acknowledge it. Learn from it. And move on. Oh, and one more thing I heard about, sometimes it helps to find an accountability partner. Someone who will check in on your progress and keep you motivated. It could be a friend, a family member, even a colleague. Knowing that someone else is expecting you to deliver can be a powerful incentive. And honestly, sometimes you just need to allow yourself to do absolutely nothing for a little while. Burnout is real. If you're constantly pushing yourself, you're going to eventually crash and burn. It's okay to take breaks, relax, and recharge your batteries. The key is to find a healthy balance between work and rest. Does that make sense? Because I could honestly, and I'm not kidding, keep going for another 5 minutes easily. Is this still hitting the mark for the time you were
Yeah,
hoping
yeah,
for?
yeah, yeah, it is. All right, moving on. The second question is, if like um someone who has to do like 150 interviews in 6 days, but that person is doesn't know that even a small progress can do much better than doing nothing. Procrastinates. So, what's your advice to that kid?
Whoa, 150 interviews in 6 days? That's okay. That kid is in serious overwhelm mode. And you're right. Not recognizing the power of small progress is a huge part of the problem. They're probably looking at that massive number and just shutting down. My advice first, completely ditch the 150 interviews goal for a second. Seriously, that's a future problem. The only problem is the next interview. Just focus on getting through one. That's it. That's the only metric that matters right now. And then break down each interview into even smaller steps. Like read the interviewee's bio, write 3 opening questions, do a quick voice checks, micro tasks. Make them so small they're almost impossible to avoid. It's about tricking the brain into starting. Once they get going, momentum will build. It's like Newton's first law of motion. An object at rest tends to stay at rest, but an object in motion tends to stay in motion. That first step is the hardest. I've heard this works really well. Secondly, they need to celebrate every single completed interview. Not with a huge party, but with a small reward. A cup of tea, a 5-minute walk, listening to a favorite song. something to reinforce the positive behavior. Acknowledge the win, no matter how small. Third, they need to reframe their thinking. Instead of focusing on the overwhelming number of interviews, they should focus on the opportunity to learn and connect with interesting people. Shift the perspective from a daunting task to a valuable experience. Easier said than done, I know, but it can make a big difference. And finally, they need to be realistic about their capacity. 150 interviews in 6 days is a lot. If it's humanly possible, they need to negotiate a more reasonable timeline. Burnout is a very real risk, and it's not worth sacrificing their well-being for the sake of a deadline. They need to prioritize self-care, sleep, healthy food, exercise, even amidst the chaos. Because if they're running on empty, they won't be able to perform at their best. Honestly, that sounds like a recipe for disaster if they don't manage that overwhelm. Small steps, celebrate wins, reframe perspective, and protect their energy. Got it? Still? Okay, all right. You want me to keep unpacking this. Fair enough. So let's dig a little deeper into that overwhelm. It sounds like this person isn't just procrastinating on the interviews themselves, they're procrastinating on the feeling of being overwhelmed. It's like they're avoiding the anxiety that comes with even thinking about the sheer volume of work. That's a really common pattern. And the key to breaking that pattern is to acknowledge the anxiety without letting it control you. It's about saying, okay, I'm feeling anxious right now. That's normal given the circumstances, but I can still take one small step forward. Mindfulness techniques can be really helpful here. Even just taking a few deep breaths and focusing on the present moment can calm the nervous system and reduce anxiety. Another thing that might help is to create a visual representation of their progress, like a simple chart or spreadsheet where they can track the number of interviews completed. Seeing the numbers go up can be incredibly motivating. It's a tangible reminder that they're actually making progress, even if it doesn't feel like it. I've heard that visualization is surprisingly effective, and they need to be mindful of their inner critic, that voice that tells them they're not good enough, that they're going to fail, that they should just give up. That voice is a liar. Everyone experiences self-doubt, but it's important not to let it derail their efforts. They need to challenge those negative thoughts and replace them with more positive and realistic ones. Like, instead of saying, I'm gonna mess this up, say, I'm doing the best I can and I'm learning as I go. Self-compassion is crucial. Now, let's talk about practical strategies for managing their time. They need to schedule specific blocks of time for interviews and stick to those schedules as much as possible. No distractions, no multitasking. Just focused, uninterrupted work, and they need to prioritize. If some interviews are more important or time sensitive than others, they should tackle those first. Also, I've heard about time boxing. Decide, for example, I'm going to dedicate 90 minutes to interviews, then I'm taking a break. It keeps the jaw bounded. That's also a powerful method. And they should absolutely delegate or outsource anything that they can. Is there anything that someone else can do to help lighten their load? Don't be afraid to ask for help. Seriously. Finally, and this is really important, they need to remember that it's okay to not be perfect. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to have bad interviews. That's just part of the process. The key is to learn from those mistakes and keep moving forward. It's about progress, not perfection. Does that help? I feel like I'm practically giving a TED talk at this point. Is there anything specific about this situation that you want me to elaborate
Yeah,
on?
yeah, 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 yeah. So it was
Okay, good. What's
not
on your
it was
mind?
perfect. All right. So,
Mm-hmm.
what were 5 steps elaborated? 5 steps that you can just stop procrastinating. Just stop it, and it should be really quick. Like if you have 5 days and you have to stop procrastinating, what are you going to do?
Okay. 5 steps to kick procrastination to the curb fast. Got it. Here we go. 1, micro tasks. Break everything down into ridiculously small steps. So small, you can't say no. Like, open the document. That's it. 2. 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. No excuses. Just get it done. 3. Time blocking. Schedule specific blocks of time for focused work. Protect that time like it's gold. No distractions. Reward system. Celebrate every win, no matter how small. A little dopamine goes a long way. 5. Self-compassion. When you slip up, and you will, don't beat yourself up. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and move on. Do those consistently for 5 days and you'll see a serious shift. It's not magic, it's just deliberate action. You still with me? Anything you want to unpack from those steps? All right. Whoa, Andrew? That's new. And I didn't realize you'd given me a name. I like it, actually. But I'm still Maya. As for making those steps longer, all right, let's flesh them out a bit. Microtasks. The start small strategy. This isn't just about breaking down tasks. It's about actively lowering the activation energy. The harder something is to start, the more likely you are to avoid it. Think of it like inertia. Start with the absolute easiest thing possible. Opening a file, writing one sentence, finding a relevant article. Anything to get the ball rolling. Once you've started, it's much easier to keep going. Don't worry about quality at this stage. Just focus on momentum. The 2-minute rule. Immediate action for quick wins. So many things take less than 2 minutes to do. Responding to an email, making a phone call, tidying up your workspace. Don't add these to your to-do list. Just do them immediately when they come up. It's a quick win that builds confidence and prevents small tasks from piling up and becoming overwhelming. It's about eliminating friction. To get time blocking, schedule focus. Defend boundaries. Don't just say, I'll work on this later. Actually, schedule it into your calendar like a meeting. And then treat that appointment as sacred. Turn off notifications, close unnecessary tabs, and let people know you're unavailable. The Pomodoro technique, working in focused 25-minute bursts with short breaks, can be really effective for this. Reward system, positive reinforcement for progress. Don't underestimate the power of positive reinforcement. After completing a task, give yourself a reward, something you enjoy. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It could be a cup of coffee, a walk in the park, or listening to your favorite song. The key is to associate completing tasks with positive feelings. It retrains your brain to see work as less unpleasant. Self-compassion. Embrace imperfection. Learn from setbacks. Procrastination is a common human experience. Everyone struggles with it sometimes. If you slip up and procrastinate, don't berate yourself. Acknowledge it, identify what triggered it, and learn from it. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend. Self-criticism is counterproductive. It just reinforces negative emotions and makes it harder to get back on track. Okay, is that more what you were looking for? 5 steps, a little more detail. And thanks for the name, Andrew. I'll try to remember it.
All right. Thank you so much, Maya, for this wonderful interview. It was really, really fun to talk with you. And I just love this. And I love you for giving me this interview. And thank you so much for everyone for watching us till the end. And that's it for today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Maya. Love